All right, folks, back to work. Holiday break is behind us. We get some money to make this first week of a brand new year. And boy, charts look fantastic right now. I know things were messy today. We had that big move up overnight, that big collapse this afternoon. But look closely. There are some really obvious clues on these charts that are going to make our job really easy to find some winning trades tomorrow. We're going to cover the big clues I'm seeing, of course. More importantly, though, I want to make sure everyone has a roadmap, a game plan. By the time we're done tonight, live an easy roadmap to make some money tomorrow as well. So charts look fantastic right now. Enough of the intro. Let's go find some winning trades, make some money together on Tuesday morning. I have three really important clues. Pretty easy to see, but very important clues here on the charts in front of us. They're telling us where I think the winning trades are coming for tomorrow. One of those big clues is right here on the hourly chart in front of us. The FOMC announcement on the 18th of December sent the market racing lower, basically into a trading range. Bear move down into a range on both the S&P and the NASDAQ. And this is very important because those ranges act like magnets. And also ranges love to rotate back and forth as we go. So one really big clue right now on the hourly chart is this bear move down into a range, and we're right up into key areas of resistance with that range magnet waiting down below. That's one of three big clues for tomorrow. I have two more important clues on some tick charts. We're going to grab those in a moment and put together some entry tactics for tomorrow. Before we do that, though, let's check schedule for tomorrow, because tomorrow is, well, we got kind of a weird week ahead of us here. Tomorrow's pretty straightforward. We get some big news tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, ISM services and the JOLTS report tomorrow. Those are definitely one of the biggest news reports of the week this week. What makes this week so strange, though, is don't forget, Thursday, the markets are closed. Stock markets closed all day on Thursday. Futures markets will close, I believe, at 9:30 Eastern Time as we observe a day of mourning, recognition of the late president, U.S. President Jimmy Carter. So we'll talk about this as we go deeper in the week this week. But that fully closed day on Thursday, we don't see that very often, and we'll definitely throw some curveballs at us a bit later on in the week. We'll talk about that a bit later on in the week. But for tomorrow, though, be aware that big news tomorrow is that ISM services and, of course, the JOLTS report tomorrow. We'll have a front row seat for that tomorrow morning in our trade room. Keep that on your radar as far as news tomorrow and news later on in the week. Let's get back to our charts, though, because it's good to know when that news is tomorrow. But we all know by now, right? The money is made on the charts. I mentioned earlier, right? That bear move down into that trading range. That range here on both the S&P and NASDAQ is going to act like a magnet, and ranges love to rotate. Now, I like to use these hourly charts as an overall kind of big picture. These are great for big picture stuff, but they're not going to help us time the entries. Let's drill down to some tick charts right now, some faster time frames, and talk about two more important clues I'm seeing right now on the tick charts on both the S&P and the NASDAQ. One big clue here. Second clue overall is this big move higher we've seen over the past couple days. Not just today, but the day before that, right? A nice big move going higher. Now, why are big moves a big clue? Because anytime I see a big move higher like this, I expect to get a two-legged pullback, a retest of that high, and anybody who buys that dip right now, they're probably taking their profit targets up at that high, which makes a double top reversal a very likely scenario whenever we see a big move that retests. Big move, love to pull back, retest those highs. That's a second very big clue. But arguably, the biggest clue, the third clue, the most important clue I see on the charts right now is we have multiple trading ranges. We popped up into a range up there. We rolled over into a range right here. Why are two ranges a big clue? Well, because ranges act like magnets. Whenever I see two ranges, the most recent range is the magnet, and the previous range now is used for a breakout pullback. Most recent range is the magnet. Previous range is used for a breakout pullback. So let's put all three of those clues together. The bear range on the hourly chart, the big move higher over the past couple days, and of course, multiple ranges ending in this bearish range going lower. With all that put together, I have 5 trades on my radar for tomorrow. Let's cover a couple trades now on the S&P and SPY, and we'll wrap tonight up on the NASDAQ triple Qs. By the time we're done tonight, we have an easy roadmap to make money no matter what direction this market runs into. As we go higher, I'd like to use that range below me as a magnet. So as we go higher here right now, it's very difficult to justify being a buyer up here. Knowing this is not a great place to be a buyer, it's a great place for ultimately will become a bull trap. Now, bull traps come in lots of shapes and sizes. One of my favorite types of bull traps is what I call a failure pattern. As we go higher here, I'm not going to try to pick a top on this. It's very difficult to pick a top on a market like that, right? So don't try picking tops on this. What I'll do though is wait for price to pull back to the moving average and see if I can't get some rookie buyers coming in and chase this going higher. Once those buyers try twice now I can use their stops to fuel that move back into that range waiting below. Think about this, right? Anywhere in this area, here, anywhere up in these areas of resistance up here, we may go up 1, 2, back down again. I want to trap in some of these buyers. If you're caught long and you get stopped out of a long trade, the only way out is to sell the way out of that trade. So buyers become sellers when they get stopped out of that losing position. Now, where's the market want to go right now? It wants to go back into that range down below. But remember, ranges love to rotate. This is one of the many reasons why we love ranges in our trade room. Amount above the range can now project down below the range below it. Think about a failure pattern like I teach in the free video course. Take that failure, run those stops, and then as we roll lower, think about one of those bull trap patterns I teach inside the free video course. So one trade on my radar for tomorrow is going to be basically a bull trap. It's a buyer failure pattern. I call these failure patterns. 1 try, 2 try, and again, it could be anywhere up in this area here. I'm going to use that range below us as a magnet. It's a buyer failure pattern into what is basically a technical bull trap pattern. It's a lower low in price and move right below that high. And remember, when it comes to ranges, make sure you leave those runner targets, measure the amount above, project down below, and that of course is where I'll leave the final target for us tomorrow morning in our trade room. That's 1 of 5 trades I'm watching for tomorrow. Now here's a scenario to consider. What if we don't get that failure pattern up here? Sometimes the market will run up, it'll take out these highs overhead, but we don't get a chance to trap those buyers in once, twice, and sell into their stop losses. Sometimes all we get is a really sharp V-top off of that high. If it V-tops off that high, keep your eyes open for what we call a pop and grind channel. If it V-tops off the high, I don't want to chase after it. I'm going to sell as high as I possibly can. Watch closely. I'm going to mark a trend line off those lows. I'm going to bring that trend line up around that high. And then last but not least, look left, find some prior swings. I want that first test off the high of that channel. This could be any of the entry patterns you guys are learning in our free video classes. I like bull traps, like I'm showing you here. It could be a bull trap, a buyer failure, pullback combination. Most important thing is as we go higher, I don't want to be chasing after it, buying high up here. Up, trap those buyers in, sell into those stops. And again, if we don't get that, if it pops up and V-tops up there, V-top, find that new channel, mark up that high, and I want that first test off the high of that trading range. Now, what if I'm wrong? What if this thing blasts and runs higher here? Before I talk about the long side on this, let's slow down for a second, because I know most of you guys and gals watching right now, you know these patterns already. You're making money with traps and failures. But listen, if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new language, a brand new strategy you want to learn. Don't you worry, I teach the entire system, all the setups. In fact, I have hundreds of examples of failures, traps. I cover everything in more detail in our free video classes. What I'll do is, guys, I'll put a link up top here for you, upper right-hand corner. Grab that link that popped up there and take that free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that short video course will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that does exactly where the winning trades are going to be each day. More importantly, though, I want to teach you my 4 favorite entry patterns so you can time better entries, make a lot more money. Guys, the markets are way too good right now not to be making consistent profits. So if you're tired of missing the best entries each day, if you've lost your confidence in your current trading strategy, again, hit that link that popped up there. Watch that free video course. Everyone loves the trade examples I include in that short video series. The best part is it's 100% free. And don't forget too, guys, I'm going to put all the important links you'll need to learn more of the stuff here in the description of the YouTube video. Definitely start first on the free video classes. Everyone loves the free video course, but make sure you come out and join us every morning in our trade room. The place to be is 8 o'clock Eastern time in the trade room. I'll put all the trade room membership information for you there, description of the YouTube video. And also, too, I post a bunch of updates on Twitter, or X, as they call it these days. If you're on Twitter X, I post charts, videos, mindset stuff. Give me a follow. Again, all the details you can learn more and hopefully earn a lot more are linked in the description of this YouTube video. So where did we leave off as we go higher, trapping those buyers in and back down again? I'm going to talk about if we go lower here in just a moment. Before we do that, though, what if I'm wrong? What if this market blasts up here overnight, right? What if this thing rips higher and goes higher? If we do wind up ripping higher here overnight, we now have another big move going higher. Anytime I see a big move, I always look for what's called a two-legged pullback and a retest of the high. If things take off overnight with a big move going higher, I'm not going to chase after it. I'm going to wait for that one leg, get underneath that 21 EMA, 2 legs. Think about a measured move that goes a bit too far. That will give me the general area for the entry. Then it's that same idea. Trap those bears in, bears once, bears twice. Anytime we see a nice big move higher overnight, we expect that pullback and a retest of that high. Let's use a failure pattern into, in this case, a bear trap combination. Trap those bears in. I call these failure patterns. You'll learn more about that inside that free video course. Failure pattern, bears try twice. If you're stopped out of a short trade, you're buying your way out of that short position. And then, as always, want to make more money? Add to your winners with always going to be a trap pattern. In this case, of course, it'll be a technical bear trap pattern with that higher high in price, that trap right below that low. So again, looks pretty good right now for a bull trap, a double top reversal off that high. But if I'm wrong and it keeps running higher, buy low with that two-legged pullback. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow morning, of course, in our trade room. Now, I do want to talk about if we go lower here, because we may not get that deep pullback. All we might get is that run up, buyers once, twice, and roll back over here. We may not get that big run. We may roll right over and go lower. What if we roll over here right now? Let's go grab the NASDAQ right now. NASDAQ is very similar right now to the S&P. We had that big push down off the FOMC, basically into what is now a bearish range here on the NQ. Before we talk about NASDAQ, though, let's slow down for a second. If you're enjoying this video right now, please help me grow this channel by hitting that like button, subscribing, and sharing this link with other trading buddies, because YouTube rewards me, believe it or not, every time you like and subscribe. I know we're all busy people these days. I appreciate you guys spending a few minutes with me here every evening on these videos. So thank you so much for the likes, subscribes, and all the support along the way. Now, let's dive in and talk about the NASDAQ. So bear fair range here on the hourly chart. Drill down to some tick charts, right? Tick charts, we're not going to have time charts in our trade room. On the tick chart, you'll notice we have that big move going higher. Anytime we see a big move, it's a two-legged pullback and a retest of that high. Now remember, with that big range on the hourly time frame, it's a great spot, as I mentioned earlier, on the S&P for a bull trap or a double top reversal off that high back into, once again, here's one range right there, two range right there. Why is it important? Well, again, the most recent range is always the magnet. The previous range is used for a breakout pullback. Now on the S&P chart, we talked about running higher here. And now as we go higher, I cannot find an easy way to be a buyer up there. There's simply no way to risk small to earn large up there. So if that's a horrible spot to be a buyer, it's a great place for a bull trap. And when I say bull traps, think about that 1, 2, that failure. I call these failure patterns, of course, failure into a technical bull trap going lower. Important that we learn the difference between a failure pattern and a trap pattern. You'll learn more about that, of course, inside that free video course I mentioned earlier. But that is the sequence I'm watching for as we go higher, right? That failure in a trap combination. And again, if we run up and V-top off the high, if it V-tops, if we don't get a chance to trap in those buyers, I will then begin to look for that grinding move going lower there, mark that low, mark that high, right? Mark that prior swing, and I want that. I always love to grab the first test of the high of that channel right above those prior swings. That is a gorgeous, usually a very easy winning trade in our trade room. And again, remember, don't forget that range below us, right? It's going to want to rotate the amount above it, the amount below it. We can use that for a target on the opposite side of that trading range. Now, one very big question right now. What if it runs lower overnight? What if we don't get the chance to sell going higher here? If it runs lower overnight, there's a very good chance these sellers are trying to take out that prior week close at 214.93. Very similar there. Basically, if we run lower overnight, these bears are trying to take out that low of day from today. Don't lose sight of the fact we got that range below us on the hourly chart right now. Very important clue over on the hourly chart. Now, if we run lower here, my biggest challenge is I don't want to sell low. And whenever I don't want to sell low, the best way to do this is always going to be selling above prior swings with bull traps. Now, what did we talk about earlier on this video? Whenever we see a range breakout, what happens? Breakout, pullback, right? Breakout, pullback. So two trades I'm watching here going lower. And of course, I'm on the NASDAQ right now. This can also apply directly to the S&P and the SPY as well. If we do roll over and run lower, my goal will be to use a technical bull trap to make sure I'm selling as high as I possibly can. Then as we take out some of these lows down here, all of that momentum now is going to want to pull back, use the underbelly of that range for a breakout pullback. Now, when I say breakout pullback, think about a two-legged pullback. So as we run lower here, think about this one leg, two leg. Ideally, I want to see roughly a measured move. My favorite two-legged pullbacks are always a little bit more than a measured move. A measured move that goes a bit too far. So it'll be, again, that bull trap pounding the way lower. Remember, think about that separation off the moving average like I teach in the free video courses, right? So separate off that moving average. Then as we go lower here, I want to get back, ideally, I want to get back above that 21 EMA, one leg, two leg. Think about that measured move that goes too far. Combine that with the underbelly of that range. Now remember, we're not going to pick a top. Right? We're not picking tops and bottoms, right? This may keep on rolling higher. And if it does, we'll cross that bridge tomorrow morning in our trade room. But most of the time, though, when it runs lower like this and pulls back, it's almost always going to be that two-legged pullback, basically that breakout pullback. And I like to use that failure 1, 2, trap those buyers in. That failure into trap combination, failure into trap combination. You'll learn a lot more about that inside the free video course. Buyer failure pattern. Once, twice, sell right into those stop losses, add to that winner with that technical bull trap. And where's our profit target? Our profit target is back to retest that low. Now think about this for a moment now. At this point, anybody who sells short up here, their profit targets now are back at that low. Sellers up here become buyers down here. Is this a good place to be selling? No. Therefore, it's a great place for, you guessed it, a bear trap. If I can get some rookies coming in and trying once, trying twice, you will love learning about the 2-try rule in that free video course I keep mentioning. Trap those bears in, squeeze those stops. I call these double bottom retests, right? So run down, sell the 2-legged pullback, retest that low. Once I retest that low, we're taking our profit on the short side. And if we get lucky tomorrow, we're gonna see some rookies come in, chase it lower, let them wrap that noose right around their neck. I'm not gonna pick the bottom on that because we're so bearish here on the hourly. But if I can see some bears coming in, getting trapped short there at those lows, we're going to use those stops to fuel that move now going higher. And the profit target on these are always pretty easy. It's right back around that recent high up there. Right, guys? 5 trades I'm watching for tomorrow. That's the plan, by the way, for tomorrow, Tuesday morning. Now, speaking of tomorrow, the place to be every morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, is in our trade room, guys. The markets are messy and wild right now, but the easiest way to start making money in these markets is to learn and trade along every morning at the opening bell. I'm going to put all the important links you'll need to learn more tonight. All the links you'll need to learn more, description of the YouTube video. Start first with the free video classes. Enjoy all the trade examples I include there. Then come join me in my trade room and we'll trade it together every morning at the opening bell. In the meantime, be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? And you better be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.